The text from my stepsister Zara arrived while I was in the middle of a crucial video conference call. Emergency family meeting tonight. Warren's furious about your career choices. Says you're wasting your education. Fair warning, he's prepared a whole presentation. 7 p.m. sharp. I glanced around my converted spare bedroom that served as my home office, where 5 education department officials sat on my laptop screen discussing our latest contract expansion. If only my family knew that while they were preparing lectures about getting a real job, I was finalizing a partnership to bring digital learning platforms to 5,000 schools nationwide. Everything all right, Ms. Blackwood? Asked Ezra, my business partner, noticing my momentary distraction during our video call. Just family drama, I replied, quickly muting my phone. Now, about the rural school district's implementation. 6 hours later, I pulled my reliable Honda Civic into Warren's driveway, parking next to Zara's BMW and Camden's Tesla. The house, a comfortable 2-story colonial in a nice suburban neighborhood, looked exactly as it had when I'd left for college 4 years ago, back when I thought teaching elementary school would be enough to make Mom proud. Diana opened the door before I could ring the bell, her community center volunteer badge still pinned to her cardigan. Riley, honey, she whispered, glancing nervously toward the dining room. Warren's been going over his notes all evening. I smoothed down my deliberately casual outfit, discount store jeans and a simple sweater that hid the fact it was actually from a boutique I could now afford. The perfect disguise for tonight's performance. The family was gathered around the dining table. Warren at the head, his business owner posture commanding attention. Mom to his right, a stack of job printouts in front of her. Zara and her husband Finn on one side, my stepbrother Camden and his wife Penelope on the other. The wall-mounted TV was tuned to the local news, Warren's preferred background noise. Riley, Mom stood to hug me, her nervous energy obvious. You look, well. I took the empty chair at the far end of the table, always the outsider's spot. A laptop was open in front of Warren. This was going to be quite the show. Let's cut to the chase, Warren began, his stern voice filling the room. Your career path has become concerning. This online teaching business of yours, EDU Bridge Learning, I supplied helpfully, has gone on long enough. 3 years of vague explanations about helping kids learn online. Meanwhile, your stepbrother and stepsister are building real careers. Zara jumped right in. My real estate firm just had its best quarter ever, and Camden's financial planning practice is expanding to 3 new cities, she announced proudly. Mom slid a folder across the table. I've collected some teaching positions at local schools. The principal at Riverside Elementary specifically mentioned they'd love to have you back in a traditional classroom. I opened the folder, pretending to scan the job listings while actually checking my phone for updates from our latest school district contract, worth more than their annual household income. The family support ends now, Warren announced, clicking to his first slide. No more helping with your rent. I haven't needed help with rent in 2 years, I interrupted. Living in that tiny apartment downtown? How can you possibly afford it on tutoring money? Penelope laughed. Everyone knows online education doesn't really pay. If they only knew I owned my building outright, or that my tiny apartment was actually a cover for the house I'd bought in the next town over, complete with a dedicated office space for my growing team. Your college fund inheritance will remain frozen, Warren continued, until you show some financial sense and accept a stable position. I had to hide my smile. The inheritance he was withholding was less than what my company earned in a typical month. Riley, Mom leaned forward, her worry lines deepening. We're concerned about you. This isn't like you being so secretive about your work. What exactly does EDU Bridge Learning even do? Before I could answer, the TV caught my attention. The local news ticker changed, and a breaking story flashed across the screen. Local teacher turned entrepreneur makes headlines. My phone buzzed. Ezra texting, stories live. Here we go. No more enabling until you get a proper job, Warren declared firmly, just as Mom pushed the teaching applications closer to me. That's when every phone in the room started buzzing with the same news alert. The local anchor's voice filled the silence. Tonight's top story: a former elementary school teacher from our own community has built one of the fastest-growing educational technology companies in the country. 27-year-old Riley Blackwood. The room went completely still. 5 pairs of eyes snapped to the TV, where my professional photo now filled the screen. Has created EduBridge Learning, an online education platform serving over 800,000 students nationwide, with annual revenues exceeding $20 million. The Department of Education has recognized the company for its innovative approach to closing the achievement gap. Mom's coffee mug slipped from her hands, spilling coffee across the table. Warren's laptop snapped shut, and Zara's phone clattered to the floor. That can't be right," Camden stammered, frantically searching on his phone. "You teach kids online from your apartment. You drive a Honda." I pulled out my actual phone, not the old one I usually carried to family gatherings, as notifications poured in from education officials, journalists, and investors. "Actually," I said, standing up, "I employ 47 people now, and we serve students in all 50 states. The Honda gets great gas mileage. Why waste money on cars when you can invest in reaching more kids?" "20 million?" Finn whispered, his face pale. 20 million in revenue, I corrected. Though that was last year's figure. We're projected to hit 35 million this year. Penelope, who had been scrolling frantically through articles, looked up in shock. "The Secretary of Education just announced a federal partnership. They're calling your platform the future of personalized learning." "Riley," Mom found her voice, though it cracked slightly. "Why didn't you tell us?" I straightened my simple sweater, which probably cost more than their monthly grocery budget. "You never asked what I was actually building. You were too busy telling me what was wrong with my choices to see what was going right." My phone buzzed again, a message from the State Education Board requesting a meeting about expanding our programs. "I need to take this call. But before I go..." I reached into my bag and pulled out several business cards, placing them on the table. "These are for my education consultants. If you want to understand what EduBridge actually does, they can walk you through our impact on student achievement." Standard procedure. "Business cards? For family?" Zara scoffed. "Especially for family," I smiled. "After all, Warren, isn't that what you always taught me about running a professional operation?" The TV continued its coverage: innovative teaching methods, bridging the digital divide in rural communities, recognition from Harvard Education School for outstanding contribution to student success. "Oh, and Warren," I paused at the door, "about that college fund? I used my savings to start a scholarship program for kids in low-income districts last year. All $50,000 of it. I figured other students could benefit more than I needed it sitting in an account. I left them there, surrounded by their job applications and shattered assumptions, while their phones lit up with messages from neighbors and friends who'd seen the news story. The teaching job printouts lay forgotten on the table next to Warren's now pointless presentation about financial responsibility. This was just the beginning. They had no idea what impact we were really making. The morning after the local news story aired was complete madness. My real office, a converted garage behind my house that I'd transformed into a tech hub, buzzed with activity. Multiple monitors displayed real-time data from our learning platforms across the country while my small but dedicated team fielded the endless stream of calls, partnership requests, and interview offers. "The Department of Education wants a private meeting," Ezra reported, handing me my third coffee of the day. 3 state education boards are sending delegations, and the superintendent of Los Angeles Unified is practically begging for an accelerated rollout timeline. I nodded, scanning enrollment numbers on my main screen. "And the family situation?" "Interesting developments there." He pulled up a local business report on his tablet. "Warren's food company stock took a hit yesterday. Investors are wondering why he never mentioned his connection to EduBridge Learning. Apparently, some are questioning his business judgment." That stung a little. 2 years ago, I'd approached Warren with a proposal to digitize his company's employee training programs. He dismissed it as computer games and suggested I focus on real teaching instead. My phone rang with Zara's contact photo, the 12th call since this morning. This time I picked up. "The whole town is talking," she burst out. "Mrs. Henderson from the school board, you remember? The one who told Mom you were throwing away your teaching degree? She's been calling everyone, claiming she always knew you'd be successful. Apparently, her husband's investment group completely missed our early funding opportunity." "That's unfortunate," I replied, watching our user engagement metrics climb another 5%. "And Mom?" "God, Mom's a mess. She's simultaneously proud and devastated. She spent the morning hanging up your teaching awards in the living room, but she keeps crying about how she never really understood what you were building." I glanced at the Education Week magazine mock-up my PR team had sent, the teacher who revolutionized learning, Riley Blackwood's digital classroom success. The interview had been last month. I'd told my family I was at a professional development conference. "Speaking of understanding," I said, "you might want to prepare Warren for tomorrow's Business Journal article. They're doing a feature on how traditional businesses are missing the digital education boom. The headline mentions him by name." Zara went silent. "How bad?" "Local business owners missed opportunity, how one family overlooked the edtech goldmine next door." "Oh no, Riley. Warren's going to be mortified." "Maybe it's time he learned that dismissing new ideas has consequences," I said, though I felt a pang of guilt. After hanging up, I turned to Ezra. "Any word on the Warren Foods situation?" He nodded, pulling up financial reports. "Their quarterly numbers are rough. The pandemic hit their restaurant supply chain hard, and they're struggling with the shift to online ordering. Word is, they're looking for a digital transformation consultant." Interesting timing. I stood, smoothing my comfortable work clothes, a nice blouse and jeans that I could actually afford now. Maybe it's time to accelerate our conversation. The next few hours flew by with strategic planning. The federal education partnership was finalized. 2 more state contracts were signed. Our platform's AI tutoring feature launched successfully. Our company valuation jumped another 15%. Then came the call I'd been expecting but dreading. "Riley?" Warren's voice, strained and unfamiliar. We need to talk. The board meeting is tomorrow. Our investors are concerned about our digital capabilities, about our future in a changing market." "How concerned?" "Concerned enough that they're suggesting we need outside expertise. Maybe even new leadership." I let the silence hang, remembering all the times he'd lectured me about practical business sense at family dinners, while dismissing my computer hobby. "I might be able to help," I finally said. "EduBridge has a corporate training division. We could discuss a consultation under the right circumstances." "Circumstances?" "A real partnership. Full digital integration planning. And honest acknowledgement of what I've built." Long pause. "Then, you planned this, didn't you? Knowing we'd need help eventually." "Warren, you taught me to spot market trends and plan ahead. I just applied those lessons to an industry you didn't think was worth understanding." I watched student success metrics stream across my screens. "The difference is, I want to help. The board meets at 9 a.m. "I know. I'll be there." "Oh, and Warren? This isn't about proving a point anymore. It's about saving your family's business." After hanging up, I found Ezra updating me on the media storm. "Diana's been calling every parent in town, trying to explain why she never talked about her daughter's company before. Camden's suddenly updating his LinkedIn to highlight his connection to you. And that cousin who called your work playing on computers at Christmas? He just sent his resume to our HR department." I sighed, checking the time. "Set up a family dinner for this weekend. Somewhere nice but not flashy." "And Ezra? This isn't about showing off anymore. It's about rebuilding bridges I didn't realize I'd burned." The sun was setting behind my modest suburban house as I reviewed Warren Foods' financial reports. On my screens, Thousands of students were learning, growing, and succeeding through our platform. The work they'd called unrealistic was changing lives every day. My phone buzzed with updates from rural schools seeing dramatic improvement in test scores. Another message from an inner-city district reporting higher graduation rates. And a third from a superintendent thanking us for reaching kids no one else could help. Ezra, I called as he prepared to leave. That business consultation proposal for Warren Foods? Yes. Make sure it's generous. Family discount. I turned back to the window, watching streetlights flicker on across the neighborhood where I'd grown up feeling like an outsider. Tomorrow's meeting wouldn't just save Warren's company, it might finally bring our family together. And honestly, that mattered more than any business success. The morning of the Warren Foods board meeting arrived with nervous anticipation. Gentle rain tapped against my Honda's windshield as I pulled into the small parking lot of their modest office building, the same place where 2 years ago, Warren had dismissed my digital training proposal as unnecessary complications. Ms. Blackwood, the receptionist said warmly, recognizing me from the news coverage. Mr. Warren is waiting for you in the conference room. Thank you, I replied, carrying my laptop bag and a folder of consultation materials I'd prepared specifically for their challenges. The small lobby felt different now. A local business journal featuring Warren Foods was displayed on the reception table, with a sticky note pointing to an article about struggling family businesses in the digital age. I took the stairs to the second floor, the same ones Warren had walked me down after rejecting my proposal, suggesting I stick to teaching kids instead of trying to fix businesses. Zara met me outside the conference room. Her real estate success hadn't prepared her for family crisis management. Riley, thank God you're here. Warren's been pacing all morning, and the investors are not happy. How bad is it really? I asked, genuinely concerned now. Bad enough that they're talking about bringing in outside management. Warren might lose the company his father built. My heart sank. Whatever hurt I'd felt about being dismissed, I didn't want to see Warren lose everything. The conference room buzzed with tense energy. Warren sat at the head of the table, looking older than I'd ever seen him. Diana was there too, wringing her hands. Camden sat with his laptop open, frantically researching digital transformation strategies he clearly didn't understand. Riley, Diana stood up, her relief obvious. Thank you for coming. Of course, I said, taking a seat across from Warren. Family helps family. Warren looked up, his usual confidence replaced by something I'd never seen before: humility. Riley, I owe you an apology. When you came to me 2 years ago with your ideas, I should have listened. I was wrong. The room fell quiet. This was the man who never admitted mistakes, who always had the answers. Warren, I said gently, opening my laptop, let's focus on fixing this. I've reviewed your financials, and you're right, this is serious. But it's not hopeless. I connected to the room's projector, bringing up my analysis. Your core business is solid. Quality products, loyal restaurant clients, good reputation. The problem is delivery systems and online ordering capabilities. You're losing customers to competitors who can offer seamless digital experiences. Warren nodded slowly. That's exactly what the investors said. They want to bring in a tech consultant, but they're expensive and they don't understand food service, I finished. I do understand it. And I understand you. I clicked to the next slide. Here's what I propose: EDU bridge learning partners with Warren Foods to develop a comprehensive digital platform. Online ordering, inventory management, customer relationship tools, everything you need to compete in today's market. Hope flickered in Warren's eyes. You'd do that? After how I treated your ideas? This isn't about the past, I said firmly. It's about family, and it's about keeping your father's legacy alive. Besides, we're not talking charity here, this is a real business partnership. You bring industry expertise, we bring technical innovation. Camden leaned forward. What kind of timeline are we looking at? 6 months for full implementation. 3 months to launch the basic online platform. I pulled up project timelines. We can start immediately. Diana wiped her eyes. Riley, I'm so sorry we didn't see what you were building. We were so worried about you wasting your education, we never realized you were using it in ways we couldn't imagine. Mom, you didn't waste anything. Every day I spent in those elementary classrooms taught me how people learn, how to break down complex ideas, how to reach people who feel left behind. That's the foundation of everything EduBridge does. Warren cleared his throat. Riley, what would you need from us? What are your conditions? I looked around the room at my family, flawed, stubborn, but ultimately, people I loved. Just one condition: we do this as equals. No more Diana's daughter or the stepdaughter who plays with computers. We're business partners working together to solve a problem. Warren extended his hand across the table. Partners, it is. As we shook hands, I felt something shift. Not just in business terms, but in our family dynamic. For the first time in 14 years, I felt like I truly belonged. 6 months later, I sat in Warren Foods' newly renovated conference room, watching our joint presentation to potential investors. Warren handled the food industry expertise while I explained the digital integration. We worked together seamlessly, each respecting what the other brought to the table. The online platform had exceeded every projection. Restaurant orders were up 40%, customer satisfaction scores had soared, and Warren Foods was being featured in trade magazines as a model for traditional businesses embracing digital transformation. More importantly, our family dinners had become something I actually looked forward to. Warren asked thoughtful questions about my work. Mom displayed EduBridge articles in the community center where she worked. Even Camden and Zara had started referring clients to our corporate training programs. You know, Warren said as the investors filed out, clearly impressed, I never thought I'd say this, but you were right about everything. The future really is digital. You were right about things, too, I replied. Building something that lasts, treating people fairly, never forgetting where you came from. I just found a different way to apply those lessons. Diana appeared in the doorway. Family dinner this Sunday? I'm making pot roast. Wouldn't miss it, I said. Though I might need to take a call from the education department. We're launching in 5 new states next month. Warren grinned. Business call during family dinner? I taught you well. For the first time in years, I felt like I was exactly where I belonged, not despite my success, but because of how I chose to use it. Sometimes the best victories aren't about proving people wrong. They're about proving that everyone can be right, in their own way. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and pressing the like button.